If you have voted for the People's National Movement, the PNM, in the year 2020, at this particular point in time in the development of Trinidad and Tobago, at this particular point in time, the history of Trinidad and Tobago, I have to ask this question. Are you feeling a sense of buyer's remorse? Welcome back, folks, to episode number 30 of Viewpoint, the Brian Heeraman podcast. Another week has passed, another emotionally charged week, yet a week accurately described as emotionally charged and for all the right reasons. And this is where we are today. But before we get into it, allow me to remind all my new listeners, old listeners, and to also thank my old listeners and new listeners that you can find this podcast. It's available on all major podcasting platforms, including Google Podcasts, iTunes, Twitter, YouTube, and Spotify as well. And I also want to encourage you all to like and subscribe to on all these major podcasting platforms. That way, you won't miss any new episodes when they come out. You'll be instantly notified. So, in my last episode, I prayed for the safe release of Andrea Bharatt, and sadly, that was not to be the case. She was found murdered in a repo. But the last week has taught me very little. I've gained very little insight in terms of what's going on because everything that took place that last week, I've known before. What it has done is brought to the realization to a lot of folks out there who have now started to awaken to what Trinidad and Tobago is at this particular point in time, where we are at this particular point in time. Nothing new for me now. What I have learned from it last week is that I've been reminded of how ruthless these people are, the enemy of Trinidad and Tobago are, the enemies, sorry, of Trinidad and Tobago are. That's what I've been reminded. And can you imagine Andrea Bharatt? Well, right now we're not quite sure if it was kidnapping or if it was actually a hit on this young lady's life. For whatever information she may have come across in the court, in the magistrate court in Heeraman, or wherever information she would have come out, was it a hit place in her life? Was it a kidnapping? No one knows at this particular point in time. But what we do know at this for sure at this particular point in time is that this young girl, this innocent young girl, who apparently was just doing her job, was murdered. I mean, how in God's name can we be living in a society where it's impossible to keep young people safe? I mean, just look at it. Trinidad and Tobago, 5,100 square miles. We have over 7,000 police officers. And that's just police officers. That doesn't include the Coast Guard, the Army, the, the bellyful Army, I should say, because they do absolutely nothing. But still, 7,000 police officers. And to find one child in 5,128 square kilometers that is Trinidad and Tobago, we can't find that one child. I mean, don't tell me the police service doesn't have the necessary resources. We spend billions upon billions of dollars every single year in this police service. And we get nothing from it. Nothing. We get nothing. No results. They talk, all this police service does is give us, they're like a ticketing police service for masks, for traffic offenses. It's ridiculous what they do. But when it comes to saving the lives of our children, saving the lives and protecting our loved ones, they do nothing. They can't even solve a goddamn murder. But that's where we are now. But lo and behold, we have a commissioner of police who for every Monday morning, he just wants to take away our rights. That's all he wants to do. Take away our rights so he can govern. Before you know it, he would just have us in our houses. That way no crime could happen and he could look good. This guy's always on TV talking a pack of crap, but he can't protect us. Can you imagine the police service in Trinidad and Tobago? They have, as it relates to Andrea Bharatt, they have zero intelligence. They have no intelligence gathering mechanism whatsoever. And the death of Andrea Bharatt proves it. They were searching and fishing pond for this child, and the body was found in a repo. Do you know how far that is? How far apart that is? They were nowhere near close to the mark. What intelligent gathering mechanism does this Trinidad and Tobago police service have? It's absolutely nothing. But what we have learned coming out of this whole scenario is the method in which the police service in Trinidad and Tobago operates, the method in which the commissioner, when is it I have called for this commissioner of police to resign, for he to be fired, for whatever, to get out of the way, give someone else a chance, someone who's capable, someone who understands what policing is all about, to give someone else a chance. Can you imagine that? One suspect passed away who they arrested. And today I'm reading the second suspect who was in Monto passed away as well. Apparently or allegedly, they were, I shouldn't say allegedly, I mean this is common knowledge right now. They were beaten upon arrest at the hands of the police officers and they just remarkably passed away. Why is that? Why is that? Now apparently some of these people, these two, one of these two men, they were charged with 70 counts of assault and battery and whatnot. But the fact remains, they were just charged. They were not guilty. Folks, folks, listen to me very carefully. Is either we have a system that we believe in, that you're innocent until proven guilty, or we don't. If we don't have a system, we don't believe it, then that we might as well start taking justice in our own hands right away and forget about it. I don't care how much people believe at all and said that they were charged and whatnot and they deserve to be punished. Yes, that may very well be, but their day in court was never here. They do not deserve to die the way they did, not by the hands of police officers, not in the manner in which we don't have no answers, but people just, the police officers say, you know what, we arrest them for the child that? We arrest them, yeah, so they're guilty? No, we believe in a system and a rule of law. We gave up our rights long ago so the police officer and his state can protect us. You just can't, you see, when you encourage these, when you support this type of cruel, rash behavior by the police service, today's could be for them, those two men who died at the hands of police officers, leaving their parents in the same agony as Andrea Bharatt's father. Today could be for them. When is your turn going to come? We cannot support systems that facilitates murder even by the hands of the state. This is not a war we are facing. This is just a battle of delinquency, of upbringing and evil, but it's not a war. But they would have you believe a war. The commissioner of police wants to widen that for non-bailable offences. Everything you don't want you to get bail for. Murder, kidnapping, soon larceny, thief in a pencil, you know, every single thing this police officer wants this commissioner of police wants to widen the non-bailable offences for. It's ridiculous what's going on. We cannot continue to operate like this. The commissioner of police says don't blame the justice system, don't blame the police officers, blame the flawed justice system that is. That's what he's saying. The police officers, with regards to one of the men who died as a result of being arrested and whatever took place, he went to court. The police officers never went to court. How could you blame the justice system is crap in on itself, but it's not alone. Trinidad and Tobago, you folks, you know what Trinidad and Tobago police officers like. If we continue to give them our rights, before you know it, we'll have nothing. We'll have nothing left. Like I said, they have all they want is to get taxpayers' dollars to buy fancy police vehicles, to drive around in air conditioners, but to do nothing. You know how they stop you at traffic offences. You know how to behave with you. You know what the first thing is to do. Obscene language, resisting arrest. That's always the charge. In a nation that believes in freedom of speech, we still have this stupid law in the book about obscene language. That is where we are at right now. And lo and behold, they found the body of Andrea Bharatt in a repo. A day after, they find the next one, and then the next day, today we hear that they find a third body, but not a body, but bones. I mean, can you imagine this? What's going on? What is taking place in this country? Where are we heading? And I'm no fan of this whole DSS operations, but look what it did to this DSS president guy, Priest or whatever they call him. Isn't that police brutality? How could you force a suspect to return to his house? If you arrest him and you want to charge him for X, Y, and Z, then charge him. You can't force him to go back to your house. It's ridiculous. How could you even phantom that? Police officers are not judges. They can't force you to go back to your house. Bring your evidence and charge me. I don't have to do anything that assists you in bringing evidence against me. If you think the man is guilty of a crime, then bring the evidence, take him to the court and charge him. Let the justice system take him. But you can't bully, you can't assault people like this. It's wrong, regardless of whether they're innocent or guilty, unless they are proven by a court of law. And you still can't assault them like that. Like I said, we believe in a system of law and rules. We are governed by this. This is what makes us different from the criminal elements out there. How do you want to be treated? How do you want to treat others? If we behave that if we allow the police to behave like the criminals, then what are we doing? Where are we heading? We have to think about these things in a rational perspective, not just because of someone dead. We can think, you know what? As soon as the police arrest you, that's it, you're guilty. Like I said, you know how the police service operates in Trinidad and Tobago. You know better than that. We can't keep doing this. Overhauling the justice system is probably one option that we have. I mean, just taking a new look, a fresh look at what's going on in this country. What needs to be done is overall the police service. They are a bunch of corrupt people. Look at how I keep mentioning this guy Alexander on TV. Is this what we want? Is that you want to be your hero? You hear me talk, he called people names. Is that what you want is that what you want to be future? I mean, who the hell did Alexander think he could be calling names to? What is his qualifications even be where he is right now? I've asked him in my last podcast episode. I don't understand these things, but this is where we're at right now. We have to do better than this. We have to find a way. I mean, can you imagine that Trinidadians are now so fed up that they have now formed their own unofficial sex offenders registry? TriniExperience.com, I believe it is. Can you imagine that? Now, I don't know who's governing this registry, but at the end of the day, anybody can appear in that registry because people are so fed up. They've now putting up your pictures and your names of people who have been accused and who have been charged and all that stuff. But the fact remains, this is not what we want. We don't want when someone is just charged that the name goes up on this unofficial sex registry because the fact of the matter is anybody can put your name up if they don't like you or whatever. We don't know how it's taking place. If the government, if the judiciary, if the office of the attorney general permits a sex registry, then what does it keep back? This unofficial system is creating, will and surely create havoc. We don't know if innocent people picture and names are going to be going up on our website to tarnish your reputation. But that is what inefficiency breeds. Inefficiency breeds this level of distrust in society. And it hurts me to even think that how I saw this video with Terry Gomez. Sorry, not Terry Gomez, the sister of Terry Gomez. And she was talking about Andrea Bharatt and Ashanti Rally, how they were missing how Faris. Who the hell is Faris Alwari, the attorney general? Who does he think he is to talk about crocodile tears? I've listened to this woman talk, the sister of Terry Gomez, and oh my God, it was heart wrenching. Heart wrenching to hear how she pleaded. I mean, don't these politicians think before they speak? Don't they ask themselves, what am I saying? How is it going to impact the ordinary person? The woman spoke from her heart. I mean, I myself was almost nearing tears listening to her speak. Those were genuine people. How could you just say that they're crocodile tears and that how a candlelight vigil is one thing and it wouldn't bring no results? You can't at particular points in time. I think we need to think before we speak. We need to say something proper to support families in these times, not just be harsh, cold, and abrasive towards them. And Stuart Young, yes, the cameras are not working, but when they ask you, you just can't say as soon as possible. People want answers. They're reaching out for answers. They're seeing their families and they're picturing Andrea Bharatt and they're wondering when is their turn. You can't tell me you have 1,800 cameras in Trinidad and Tobago and less than 800 operational. This can't be right. This can't be right. Politicians need to think before they speak. They need to think what they're going to say and what's the implications of what they're going to say. We have to reassess where we are today and where we want to go tomorrow and how do we plan to get there tomorrow. But continuing to do things like this, continuing to depend on people like Alexander and Gary Griffith, it's the wrong thing. These people are unfit to hold public office. Because and their juniors are taking, they're following them. you're following their bad behavior, they're taking notice of that. Gary's role and responsibility is to always defend the police service. Even when they're corrupt, that's what he's doing. We need to really reassess what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago, folks. And I know I've spent a lot of time rambling about this whole situation with Andrea Bharatt and Ashanti Riley, but it's just listening to this whole Terry Gomez video. I mean, I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to listen to the video, but you should find it on Facebook or whatever platform it's on. It's so heart wrenching, you know. You could actually feel the woman's pain. I don't know how. I think the entire situation with Andrea Barra just brought back the entire all the pain that people would have felt for Shanti Riley, and it's confusing to everyone because we don't know how to deal with something like this, and we just keep seeing it repeating itself and nothing's being done. I think the people of Trinidad and Tobago, they're getting tired of it. They can't take it anymore, and the powers that be is not acting upon it. They're not doing anything to protect us. So, as I mentioned, all sorts of things is happening, but I don't know if this is going to be the red line that the folks are going to draw and say, you know what, to the criminal, is this the red line that we're going to draw, and we're going to say to the criminal elements, we're going to say to the government, we're going to say to the powers that be, you know what, there's a price we will not pay, there's a point beyond which you all must not advance, there's a point, there's something we wouldn't continue to take, we just have to stop. We have to stand up for ourselves and say enough is enough. We have to say that the policies these policies that they're consistently trying to pass, these policies of accommodation is doing nothing but it's appeasing the criminal elements. And we all know what appeasement basically means. It means it's just like it's a short run solution is not going to solve the problem. And for for those who say that we need more laws at an emotional time like this, now is the worst time to pass new laws. The absolute worst times. Because they're gonna take advantage of us and they're gonna say they're gonna say every single thing that they can possibly think of to get us to give up more of our rights, and we're gonna see no results for it. None. Like I've said before, they have spent billions of our dollars and we have seen nothing for it. Absolutely nothing for it. All we have gotten is cheap talk and a request for more laws and a request for decreasing our rights. We have gotten nothing for it. But anyhow, enough of that. Let's move on to something else because we can talk about this whole issue for the entire episode, and it's heart wrenching. It's too much at some point in time. So on another note, I've seen the airport authority of Trinidad and Tobago board has been replaced, and guess what? If this doesn't get to the root cause of the problem that this country is facing, look at this board. Look at it. Look at how the board is constructed. Remember, the airport authority board, it's been replaced now, and guess who's the chairman of the board? Vishnu Danpal. Remember that name, Vishnu Danpal? Former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance, who was earmarked apparently to be the governor of the central bank. He has now found his way as chairman of the Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Can you imagine that? A senior public servant who's supposed to be independent all of a sudden is now favored by the government that be. Was he always independent? I mean, when the UNC was in office, was he always wielding this independent hand? How come all of a sudden, this guy just finds his way on the Airport Authority board? I mean, and he's not the only senior public servant, you know. Remember this one, Alison Lewis, who was the former chairman of the Port Authority. All of a sudden, she was a secretary as well, and she found herself in the Port Authority. She resigned from the Port Authority board, and she's now in charge of an energy company in Point Lisas that is getting natural gas because of the Minister of Energy special privileges. This goes to show it's the root cause. When you think that how these people are operating in your best interest, they don't have your interest at heart. All they have is your selfishness at heart. I can't believe it. Vishnu Danpal now chairman of the Airport Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Wow. Nothing seems to amaze me in this country. I mean, nothing. And with regards to the whole THA Act in terms of they want to change the act. They want to put, apparently, they want to put 13 seats or 15 seats. Well, why stop at 13? Why stop at 15? Go for 20 now. I mean, who gets to decide? Or are we just looking for a number that you feel you could win so you could control the teacher once again? It's ridiculous how they continue to plan these things. I mean, since when the government gets to decide how much seats? I thought isn't that an EBC function? Or are they controlling the EBC as well? Is that it? How could you just take it upon yourself to suggest a number? Shouldn't you send this for some sort of special committee or for review by the Elections and Boundaries Commission or something to that effect? These things. I mean, it shows that how the intention, the power grab that's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. And if that wasn't horrible enough, I read in the papers where Joseph Modelo, who's the former U.S. ambassador, is saying how the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago once told him how the U.S. is no longer their favorite trading partner, is now China. Lo and behold, China is now where, well, obviously the Prime Minister denied this, but China is now where apparently the Prime Minister is aiming towards, according to the U.S. ambassador. China, the most dangerous trading partner that the world has ever seen. They take away your jobs. They have no restriction and they have no health concerns. You've seen COVID-19. You've seen everything how the Chinese authority move. That's a communist society. That is where we're looking to pledge our support now. Do we not believe in freedom and the values? I don't understand where we heading at, folks. I don't understand where we heading. But I do know one thing for sure. We can't continue. We can't continue this forever. Something is going to come to a head. And whether we like it or not, when it does eventually happen, we're not going to be very happy about it. Because from everything that I've seen, this government is attempting to now silence the population. You'll see, in no short order of time, you're going to see the COVID-19 infection rates are going to rise, and they're going to blame it on whatever gathering that they have, and then they're going to increase the restrictions to prevent gathering. That's what's going to happen. That Dr. Michelle Trotman, mild disease lady, and whoever it is, Dr. Hines and can't remember your next doctor name, Roshan Paras, I'm sorry, you're all going to see the virus infections are going to increase just to bring about a new level of restrictions on the population trying to be. This is the new way that governments, third world government, banana republic government is using to control the citizens, to keep us quiet, to prevent us from getting out there and stating our point of view. We are entering dangerous times in this country. And I hope people are paying attention, because this whole Andrea Bharatt, Ashanti Riley, to some extent even Terry Gomez system, this whole scenario, it's awakening the monster, the dragon that's in the population minds, and they can't take it anymore. And that in on itself is a red line that the Trinidad population is drawing, and they're not going to accept it anymore. But we'll see. I want to end it there for now, folks. Take care. Thanks for tuning into episode number 30. And remember to like and subscribe on all the major podcasts and platforms. That way you'll always be notified. Take care.